Hey guys, Tomboy601. Today, the Z-52, the new legendary German destroyer that has just found its way into the Bureau. What do you need to know about it and all that coming up? But before we do that, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's dive on in. And as we know, the German destroyers, I think, are a pretty good line overall in World of Warships Legends, right? They are one of the hybrid destroyers, i.e. they're not too heavily focused in torpedoes, they're not too heavily focused in guns. Instead, they kind of flirt the line with both, and they have the added benefit of having sonar, and that is Z-52's whole shtick, is its sonar. You can see we're playing what some would say pretty dumbly by bringing a destroyer with nearly 6 kilometer detectability out to the middle of the map this early. But it's kind of part of the plan with Z-52 because the piece de resistance, the highlight of this ship, is its sonar consumable. It will detect torpedoes at 4 kilometers. That's fine. But more importantly, it will detect ships at 5.9 kilometers. That's right. You may notice that's also our detectability range. And you may also be saying, that's kind of a far detectability range there, Tommy. I was like, yeah, because guess what? We don't have to worry about concealment really in Z-52. We can stealth sonar. That sonar is going to last 2 minutes. So if we do get spotted, we just kind of have to keep the other vessel within sonar range. And, well, ugly things can happen. So Z-52 is an incredibly powerful destroyer hunter and one that brings a hard counter finally to daring. I think for at least the last year, daring has been that top of the line, best at the tier, legendary tier destroyer. There's been nothing really to challenge it, just because of its smoke, its sonar. If you have Grotmaz Smart, its incredible fire setting ability, well, now we have something that is a hard counter to it. The 3 kilometer or the 2.5 kilometer range of ship detectability on the daring doesn't really stand up to 5.9 kilometers. You're going to be able to control that engagement and sink the daring. It is a hard counterplay to it. So what is our build? Well, we are running Bay with Victor Sims and Mordoff as our inspirations, and then we are running Observant Range Mortar, reaching out and smoke on the water with the legendary skill Unstoppable. And you can tell by that build, we're taking some of the skills that are going to increase our detectability, but that's really not a concern for us, right? Because we have that sonar, we don't mind having a nearly 6 kilometer detectability because we're going to be able to spot anything that outspots us. So this does open up and cover some builds that would usually have some pretty large downsides on the rest of the destroyer line. This sonar detectability really helps cover it up. What are some of the other things you need to know? Well, let's go ahead and talk about the guns as we, well, go ahead and pull off that sonar combo. Daring spotted us. We're going to pop our smoke, and we are now just going to go ahead and start melting this daring. Main guns, we got 3 two-barreled 128 millimeter guns, and we do have quarter penetration. What that means is that we can expect those guns to pen 32 millimeters of armor. They're going to fire for 11.7 kilometer range, reload in 3 seconds. Damage on them, with our current build, where we do buff the damage on them, 1,695. Compare that to our Grotmaz build, or at least my Grotmaz build, which is like mid-1700s. You know, it's not the best because Grotmaz does take a hit for alpha damage on those, but it is at least somewhat competitive. Chance of fire on this, 7%, which isn't the best. AP, of course, the German destroyers usually do have that great AP, 3,390 per hit, as we pick up a second destroyer with our sonar. I don't know if you've noticed that, but that Shima, I don't think he had any idea just how far the range was. He inadvertently sailed into the sonar, and now he is absolutely trapped as our torpedoes take out the Schlieffen. And speaking of the torpedoes, what are we looking at for torpedoes? Well, we got two 4-railed 533 millimeter torps. They're going to reload in 85 seconds. They're going to do 14,400 damage. They have a range of 10.5 kilometers and currently go 69 knots. So fairly decent overall as we go ahead and finish off the Shimakaze here. You can see we do have a fairly long engagement time. The Alpha Strike on the guns is not the best by any means, but the being able to consistently do damage both to enemy destroyers but also enemy battleships, you take the lack of pure Alpha Strike for the ability to do damage, especially on those larger ships. Max speed of the vessel, it's going to be 37.5 knots, turning radius on it 700 meters, which is decent, and a rudder shift time of 4 seconds. Other things we should touch on, we did cover, of course, the big consumable, which is the sonar, but the other two consumables that you're going to receive is going to be the smoke. Of course, it is going to be German smoke, so 83-second dispersion time, 240-second reload, and you're only going to get 2 charges. This is probably one of the weakest bits about the German line to begin with, is just kind of how short that smoke screen time is and just how long you end up being able to actually use the smoke. So you have to be very judicious, very tactical on when you want to use it. Then you also get an engine boost. Nothing big to report here. 8% engine boost. I think also 240-second reload time. Only 2 charges of it. It does do pretty decently. It ends up boosting up to about 40 knots, which, hey, for getting around the map, that's going to do really, really well. That's kind of what you want out of an engine boost. So yay for it there. As far as my final thoughts on Z-52, personally, right now, I don't have room in my bureau to research both Vermont and Z-52 at the same time. And the ship that I'm researching right now is Z-52. I think out of the pair that came out in this update, I think it is by and large, by and far, the best ship available of those two. It is going to be a ship that people are going to struggle to deal with at Legendary tier, especially for a destroyer. It is going to be incredibly potent destroyer hunter, one that once it accomplishes its goal of being a destroyer hunter, can then transition into being either a gunboat or a torpedo destroyer. It will be solid in both aspects, right? It won't be the best, but I think middle of the line is what you want from this sort of vessel. I think, like I said earlier, it is very much the hard counter to daring. Its ability to have that long-lasting sonar means that for a daring player, if they come into contact with a Z-52, they have to immediately break that engagement off. They're probably going to lose about a third to half their health during that. They need to wait 2 minutes until they know the sonar is down, and then they have to get within their sonar range, which is what, 3 and change kilometers, maybe 4, but still a fairly significant amount of time to have to get in close and then use their smoke to maybe win that engagement. They're going to need their team support. That is kind of what is going to need to happen, and that's going to be a very difficult thing for them to do. So I think Z-52 is going to be the very hard counter. Anyways, guys, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and, well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.